Hi, I'm Arnav Khanna. I am a high school student that first got involved with consumer disclosure at the Earth Day dialogues that were held at the Open Climate Collaborathon.
Hi, my name is Carolina Gornau. I am an engineering student and I took part to the collaborathon back in November in Paris.
Hi, I'm Anshu Jain. I'm a tech entrepreneur and business consultant, and I'm glad to contribute to the Open Climate Collaborathon starting April 2020 this year. Yeah, and with this, I'd like to give a brief introduction to the consumer disclosure working group, the kind of problems we attack from a consumer end and from a corporation end, the kind of opportunities we offer for all of us to join in. So moving on. The big problem that confronts us is that 2020 needs indeed to be the year of peak greenhouse gas emission to save the planet from catastrophic Earth system failure. Our work has shown us that this cannot be achieved without concerted individual action. Even though people are well-meaning, well-intentioned and willing, there is limited information and options available for them to act on a daily basis to meet these climate goals. And moving on, there is not enough consumer demand that creates the right market forces for corporations to cooperate towards meeting this objective. So in thinking together and working together, we came up with what should we look at as a mission for the consumer disclosure working group. So we thought of some very simple points, namely to bring climate into the everyday consciousness and thinking of people. Consciousness meaning in the little actions that they take every day, in what they buy from whom they buy, what are their climate impacting choices that they make on a daily or even hourly basis. With these actions, we want to encourage the collective force of one's individual wallet with the buying choices they make to help move the market forces in the direction of achieving this goal. Little and often adds to big changes. This is what the message that we would like to reinforce. How we enable this change is by co-creating with business partners and technology partners like Hyperledger, and looking at business models and enabling technologies that make climate doable and facilitate this interaction between companies, individuals towards environmental markers. The kind of themes we look at are to enable digital touch, to enable tools that meet the individual at their everyday digital touch points, such as looking at impact information at the moment of purchase, looking at impact weighted buying options, how to offset one's carbon impact of a purchase, and projects around these themes. From a corporation point of view, we hope that this consumer action would create an incentive for companies to start reflecting their climate accounting and environmental factors onto their product specification and use their environmental credentials as a real differentiator. Some good work has been done within the consumer disclosure group on creating a framework for supply chains to track their environmental impact as the product moves through it. More on it when we go to the next details. So what we hope to achieve is create a sense of action moving from a sense of guilt, despair, or helplessness to an inspired, determined sense of action on a daily basis. So now I pass over to Carolina to go over more details on the various projects, and then how you could you can help and collaborate with us.
Thank you, Anshu. So for this collabathon, I had the opportunity to be part of a team that worked on the consumer disclosure prompt in Paris back in November. And we have designed a solution to this problem, which is the sustainability score. Sustainability score is a concept that is close to the Nutri-Score, but it is about the sustainability of the product that we consider. It's not only for the food industry or for a specific industry, but it's something that we want to be more general, more global, and that could reflect if a product is respectful of the environment or not. It's a tool that we want to give to the consumer to make it more aware of the quality and the durability of the product he wants to buy. So to do that, we first we were thinking about the different variables that will be used to create it, and then we have made a formula that use these variables. So different things come into consideration, which are the distance, the quality, the lifetime of a product, if it uses consumables, if it have reusable parts or not. And we put it in scale, and we also added weight to make a bigger impact in the variables according to which variables are more important. And then one of the key issue of this model is to estimate the best way possible these parameters. So we had three methods going from an easiest one to a more complex one. The first method was the one that we used during the collabathon because we needed direct results. It was, for instance, using for the distance a simple model, the model of a graph with points with weight going from 0 to 2, but also simplified scales for the other parameters. But we think that this is not enough. This is why we also proposed a second method to estimating these parameters, which is about using information that are available on e-commerce websites such as Amazon or eBay. So this way we are about to create a plugin that will, for instance, check the location or the factory and all this relevant information. And to make it even more precise, the best way would be to use a blockchain such as Hyperledger that track the supply chain of each product, and then can have the most detailed information about the product. So we end up with this solution that was creating an independent website with this information for the product, but we're also thinking about another solution which is a plugin that will be added to different supply chains and that can adapt to the supply chain of each product. So these were two of our suggestions for creating this sustainability score and making it available for the consumers. After this two-day hack, we had also a working session that were going on since November, especially during before the summer, and we had the occasion to link our project with other teams that were working during the collabathon or beyond. So we discovered the EcoWigi project, which is a web plugin that enable customers to know how much CO2 was emitted to create the product they are about to buy. We also connected with a CO token, which is an Ethereum-based application which tokenize carbon offsets to make them available for the Web3 ecosystem. And also e-emission, which is a platform to track mobility for individual people and helps them knowing how much CO2 they emitted. And so the aim of all this work was to connect this project to maybe create an integration bar that can take information from these different projects, different databases and different technology, and make them work together. So this is what we are currently working on with this project, but also with external companies.
So Carolina kind of just talked about how we built on projects that we'd already had done from the Collabothon. And while this was important to kind of get everybody thinking about consumer disclosure, working on it, we've also done a lot of work going forward. So from the Collabothon to now, we've built on existing projects, but we've also built relationships with outside foundations that we believe a partnership would be beneficial with. The first one was Hyperledger, clearly, and it's been great to hear a lot of the input, ideas, and collaborate with the Hyperledger Foundation. We've also reached out to corporations like Yuka and Almond. Yuka is a Nutri-Score company that displays the score, that assigns a score to a food item and displays it based on its nutritional value. And we thought we could add a consumer disclosure kind of impact on this, displaying the carbon impact of each individual food item. They currently are not ready for such functionality, but hopefully in the future, once we have a platform developed, we will reach out to them again and get them into the climate frame of mind. The second company we reached out to was Almond, and we actually are in early talks with them right now. What Almond does is they are directly correlated to consumer disclosure in the sense that they are a carbon calculator. They give you a survey and they give you back the impact with the impact of your actions in the form of carbon emissions. They also have other functionalities like tokens, and they just show you what your carbon footprint is in a very clean, effective application. And although we've completed our primary market analysis already, we're still looking to partner with or help organizations that are willing to work towards the common goal of consumer disclosure. But even further in the future, there are a few more goals we have. So we wanted, if there was one big central goal, it would be to create a working prototype. And what that prototype would be a platform that completes the goal of consumer disclosure through modules like the ones we've developed, the sustainability score, EcoWigi, CO token. And actually this prototype, as most prototypes do, involve actually a lot of work. And that involves first exploring existing solutions that are already in the market, and then identifying unsolved problems that these solutions have a hole for so that we can come in and solve these problems to make it better. Next, we need to create a product roadmap. The first thing we need to do is identify data sources. So in our primary market analysis, what we discovered was that there are actually quite a few carbon calculators that are available in the market. But the problem with most of them is that they don't rely on reliable data. Their numbers are just an estimate, and we hope to do a lot more than that once we've created our platform. Then we'd like to also create a product architecture, how we're going to use each individual module that we've already created and how that relates to the data sources. And besides the prototype, there's also a few more goals we have. The first of which is market reach. So we'd want to identify prospective partners like Almond, like Yuka, and once we're done with the prototype, we'd like to present it to these partners, so that we can get them involved. We can get companies that initially didn't care about climate into the consumer disclosure bubble, where they're alerting their consumers the impact of their actions. And lastly, we'd like to expand our working group and our contributions. So there's a few different groups of people that we need to, that we think we would need in order to succeed in producing this kind of platform. And those are developers and experts in consumer disclosure. People who can kind of either create the platform or just create ideas, identify gaps that are already existing in the market, problems that we can fix. Next, we're also searching for partners. And those are product companies like Almond that we're already talking to. We're looking for even more of those, or e-commerce companies. And we believe that if we partner with these kinds of companies, our relationship with them will bring them into consumer disclosure and really, really make an impact. Lastly, if you'd like to join us, there is another Collabathon event coming up in November. There's going to be dialogues to start with, and then there's going to be a working sprint. This is where we plan to do a lot of development, and hopefully we'll see you all there. Thank you.